Okay, good morning. After running the refrigerator on propane last night, the freezer is at 1.4 degrees Fahrenheit, and the refrigerator portion is running at 32 degrees. Now I had that running on high, and so I just turned the temperature down to setting 1, and I'll let that run all day and see what that does. But yeah, we're cooking with we're cooling with propane. Very excited about that. And what that allow us to do is, if when we're traveling down the road and we've got stuff in the refrigerator, we can run it off of propane to keep it cool while we're driving down the road. Or I could switch it over to my inverter and run it on my batteries, because my solar panels will be, on the roof charging the batteries. But I don't want to, I don't want to use my batteries too much for that. If we're at a campground, of course, I'll be plugged into electricity, shore power, and then I'll run my refrigerator. But the idea is to conserve the resources that, that we've got, for when we absolutely need them. So I'd rather keep my battery power fully charged, because I can always run the refrigerator on batteries when we get to where we're going, and I can fill up a propane tank. But it's all trial and error. So you can see I put the refrigerator on a warmer setting on the freezer, so you can see the freezer's moving up to 2.4, and the refrigerator went down actually to 32.7. So but we'll see. We'll check it in a couple of hours. All right, I'll be back. Okay, I don't know if you can see it or not, but these are these are my solar panels, and I'm putting the brackets on. These go on the solar panels, and then they get screwed into the roof. You can see one here that I've got done, maybe. I can't see the thing. All right, and I've got 4 solar panels. And these panels are, I'd be darned if I can see. But anyway, I think I'll let this run for a little while. I've got to attach these 4 brackets, and then I'll come back and kind of show you a little bit more. So let me do that real quick. These are all stainless steel nuts, bolts, and lock washers. All right. They're 10 millimeter. And again, this is aluminum. We don't want to be torquing this stuff down too much. All right. So you've got your nut and your flat washer, and then you've got your panel bracket, and it does get oriented a certain way. I bought these from Renogy, okay, and they seem pretty solid. They seem pretty accurate as far as their fitment is concerned. All right, so we're going to toss a flat washer, again stainless steel, and then nut. Yeah, this is stuff you want to do down on the ground. You don't want to be doing it up up on the roof. Do I know where I'm going to put them yet on the roof? Absolutely not. I haven't figured that out yet. But once I get them, you know, all set up and ready to go, I'll probably carry them up there and, you know, lay them out and and decide where I want to permanently mount them. I mean, I've got some ideas, but I haven't settled on any particular one yet. And the other thing I want to do is I want to plan for the future for additional solar panels and any other things that may have to go on the roof in the future. And you know, I can't tell you what that might be, but you know, let's say, for example, let's say you surrounded your roof vent with these and you had no way to get to the roof vent to do any service. Well, that would be a pain in the ass, because then you'd have to remove the solar panel to get to it. So, you know, you just don't want to plop them up there anywhere. All right. So let me show you what I've got here. So I've got, you can see those two holes right there are what go down, screw down through the roof. And I've got some beautiful brass screws, and it's got a nice little rubber washer on it, so that when it, you know, when it gets down to the metal, you know, it's not gonna, you know, two dissimilar metals, and you don't usually want to put them together too much. Now, I want you to take special note of this hole right here and that symbol. Now, what that symbol means is an earth ground, okay? So all of the panels have this earth ground. Now, I've watched a lot of videos and I've, you know, talked to some folks about it, but Vincent is going to be attaching an earth ground wire to each of these panels. Then I'm going to hook them together in a common, you know, in a common loop or parallel, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to be running it down into my coach to my ground, to my main ground bar. Okay. Now, what's that for? Let's say you know, a lightning strikes on the top of your unit. Well, it's going to go through these solar panels, go through the positive and negative wires on your panels, go into your charge controller and blow up your charge controller. Now, of course, I've got fuses and such, you know, in between that and that to hopefully prevent that. But if you don't have these earth grounds, you're just stupid. And I wanted to videotape this what do you call it? This call it a data panel or whatever. It talks about the voltages and this sort of thing. And I also want to take a picture of the solar panel serial number. There's also a serial number. Where the hell is it? Right, where is it? It's right there somewhere. Oh, right there. There it is. Okay, 2193. Okay, that's the same number that's on the back of these. Now, once I've got them all set up, I'm going to be taking a Sharpie, and where that serial number is right there, I'm going to number these panels. And the reason I'm going to do that is so down the road, if I have an issue with one of the panels, I'll be able to identify it via serial number and the number that I've given it on my spreadsheet, which will be in my utility room, and I'll be able to identify it. The other thing too is if I ever want to test individual panels to see what the output is, I can do that by simply, you know, disconnecting these wires, you know, and hooking them up to my controller one at a time, get my readings as far as my input, wattage and stuff like that, you know, write it down and then do the next one, do the next one, do the next one, and compare it. Because it's my understanding that the solar energy will only, well, it'll only produce based on, I guess, the weakest link or something like that. So if you got 4 panels and one is producing, let's say, I don't know, 25 watts, I don't know, it has something to do with the parallel or something like that, but I'm no expert. So, but anyway, all right, I've got one panel with the hardware on it, and I'm going to do another one, and I'll be back. This is panel number 2. Well, I'm calling it panel number 2, but it may ultimately not end up being panel number 2, just because. But it's the second one I'm videotaping. Okay, here's the third one, all set up. And again, it's just the third one that I've done. Okay, here's number 4. Okay, I've got my panels face down with all the cables looking at me. This is sort of, they're oriented in the direction that I want. And as I said earlier, I was going to be numbering them. That's number 1. That's number 1. Jeez. That's number 2. You can see it's upside down because their panels are upside down. This one's number 3, and this one is number 4. And I wrote it right next to the serial number. Now, just for good measure, I'm going to go ahead and write it on the back also. So this is number 1. This is number 2. Number 3. And number 4. Okay. This might make sense in the future to somebody, but all right, here's number 1 and the serial number. Number 2 and the serial number. Number 3 and the serial number. And number 4 and the serial number. Okay, now what I've got laid out is my positive and negative cables that'll go to my charge controller. This is my cable bundle for connecting my panels in parallel. I've got some extra connectors, and I bought two different kinds of these. These are used for when the cable goes through the roof. Okay, so as you're driving down the road this way, you see how the rain will hit this edge and be deflected off. Okay, same thing with this white one. Okay, and I think I'm sort of leaning towards the white one, but I don't know yet. I don't have to know right now. I kind of like this black one because it's got these, to help secure, the cables on the roof without them flapping around. So we'll make that decision when it comes time for it. But that's when I drill my hole through the roof. This is the cover for it. And again, you see how it's shaped so that it deflects the water away, so it doesn't, leak down into the coach. Of course, whatever hole you drill, you'll seal that up pretty good. So, all right. Okay, I'm up on the ladder, looking at my roof, just studying it a little bit. And I think what I'm going to do is, I'm going to install them right down that side, all the way down that side. Okay. You see my roof vent there, my air conditioner. You see my two tank vents and my refrigerator roof vent. So it's kind of busy on this side over here, and if I put them on that side, they're kind of out of the way, and I can add more as I go. And I think what I'm going to do is get them up here and lay them in place, just kind of change them around a little bit. But I think that running them down that side is the best bet. And of course, I'm going to start them back here in this corner and just keep on going. Now I'm going to leave them off the edge probably 8 or 9 inches, because if I ever want to reseal the seam on the roof, it's just going to be so much easier to do that. So without the solar panel being in the way, I'll be able to do that. So, all right, I'll be back. Let me get some panels up here. Talk to you soon. Okay, so as is my prerogative, I think I'm going to put the panels up front. Couple of reasons. One, I'm thinking about the length of wire from the back of the trailer, about 20, let's say 25 feet to my charge controller. Now, in 25 feet, I'm going to lose a lot of amps or watts or something. In other words, the longer the wire, so the energy's being produced, it's got to go through the wire, and as it goes through the wire, it diminishes before it gets to the charge controller. So by placing these panels right here, I'm about 4 feet from my charge controller. Okay, and then my charge controller is another 4 feet to the batteries. So a 25-foot run all the way up to the front of the trailer, or an 8-foot run. I think I'm going to go with the 8-foot run. Okay, and I can still navigate around them. I can place my my solar cables right there, or from inside my utility room I can choose exactly where I want my wires to come down, and because I can do that, I can have them drop straight down into my charge controller. It'd be a beautiful thing. So I'm very excited about that. My grounding wire is directly underneath these also, so I mean, I feel very good about that. Now, aside from the obvious reasons why I still have the cardboard covering up the solar panels, anybody want to venture to guess before I give you the answer? Because they're sitting out here in the sun, they're not hooked up to anything, and guess what they're doing? If I didn't have that cardboard on top of this, they'd be producing energy right now, okay? So if you were to stick a light bulb at the end of those wires, it probably would light up. You know, it's only 12 volts, so it's not a big deal. But remember, it's not the volts that kills you, it's the amps. So again, I'm not an electrician. I don't really understand all that shit. All I know is if I don't cover these up right now, they'll be producing energy, and I'm trying to work with them, and it's probably not a good idea. So my task right now is I have to attach these to the roof. So that's what I'm going to do. But first thing I'm going to do is attach my cable so I can see where I'm going to run everything and how I'm going to do it. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm getting ready to cut my my stuff here, and what this is, it's like, I don't know, it's a roof sealant on a roll, and I need 16 pieces at 7 inches. And what this is for is when I get ready to mount the solar panels through the roof with the screws, the aluminum feet or plates that I installed earlier will rest on top of this, and this material is very sticky. You peel off that clear plastic there, and that will stick to the roof. Okay, I have to clean the area that I'm going to be sticking this to, so it's a nice clean surface with some alcohol, and then this will stick like glue. And then when the screws go through it, this material will help seal up around it. And then when I get ready to lay my my solar panel on top of it and screw it in, I'll put some lap sealant, which is, I've got 4 rolls sitting right over there on top of the cardboard. And then once those are in place, then I'll come across the top of the screw heads and pretty much the entire area with the lap sealant, and then that'll be a waterproof connection. So, all right, let me cut these. I made me a mark right there. See the 2 black marks, one in the yellow and one on the thing? That's 7 inches. I need them to be 7 inches. So I need to cut 16 of those. I'll be right back. Okay, I've got my 16 pieces of roof seal ready to go. They're just in stacks of 4 right now. Just when I was cutting them, that's how I was counting them. So the edges are a little sticky. They want to stick to each other. No big deal though. But boy, once you put that stuff down on the roof, that's pretty much it. All right, I'm gonna stick this box, believe it or not, in the refrigerator. And you may be asking, well, why is he doing that? Because what that's gonna do, it's not gonna harden that stuff, but it's gonna be easier to work with. I'll be able to peel that clear plastic off and get it down on the roof. But once it touches that roof and the sun heats it up, it'll be pliable again, and that will happen very quickly, probably by the time I drive my screw down through it. So don't worry about that. While I'm standing here, I've got the refrigerator set at coolness level number 2, and my freezer's at 10.2 and my refrigerator's at 43.8. So that's still very good. And all right, let me climb up on the roof and put these panels where I want them. Okay, I've got all 4 secured with screws, and now what I'm getting ready to do is put my mat down, my roof seal, and my lap sealant, and put the final screws in. So I'll be right back. Okay, I got 1 panel left to secure to the roof, and I've got the tripod set up, so I'm sure I'll be in the way a lot, but you can watch along if you want. Okay, when I got them where I wanted them, I basically put 1 screw in each side or in each clip to you know, to sort of secure it. So now I've got 2 on this side. I've taken these 2 out and I've put my tape measure under it to lift it up a little bit, and now I'm going to clean where my butyl tape is going to go, or my roof sealant. So I'm using this solution to get any grime and stuff where the roof sealant's going to go down, because you want it to stick, and you want it to stick forever. So this will remove any oils or anything that doesn't belong there, and give me a nice surface to adhere my tape pads to my roof sealant pads. So you'll be able to see better when I get to the other side, hopefully. Try to zoom in a little bit, give you a better view. Here's my thing. I'm sticking it under the clip. All right. Smoothing it all down. Do the other side. I'm doing the other side. Nice and smooth. I'll take my lap sealant, and where my screw holes are going to go, and right underneath the clip I'm going to put a nice bead. take my tape measure out, and it's gonna set right down into that nice bed of lap sealant and roof sealant that I put down. Okay, looks good. All right, now the 2 holes I did before, I can now run my screw down through the roof sealant, through the lap sealant, and through the clip. Okay, now we're good. And now the other 2 holes that I hadn't drilled yet, I'll be running these screws right down through, and right through the lap sealant. There. Right in the lap sealant, I was going to seal good. That's for sure. All right. Okay. That side is done, which you couldn't see too good, but you'll be able to see this side a lot better because I may figure out how to get the camera a little angled a little better. I don't know. Have to see what the situation is. Try to move that out of the way. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna. I can't even see because it's so bright. There it is. Okay, I see one in the frame. Okay. Alright. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Alright, so we'll concentrate on that one, even though I'll be working on the other one too. Let's see here. Let's move this back a little bit, maybe. Well, at least you can see one. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna remove that screw. I didn't run it all the way in, by the way, when I first stuck it in there. Okay. Okay. Now, clean off my nut driver. It's got a bunch of that lap sealant on it. Helps the screws stick to it, but it doesn't help me a bit. Okay. All right, so now I've got both screws out on both sides. I guess I'm hoping that like hell you can see. All right. So what I'm gonna do is take my tape measure and stick it under here, and that just basically lifts it up a little bit. And now I'm going to clean that area with this solution. Okay. Get rid of any oils or any imperfection, dirt that doesn't belong there. Okay. And it evaporates real quick, so I don't have to worry about it affecting my tape at all. I'm gonna have to stand up when I do this so I can kind of get a bird's eye view of what I'm doing. So here's that tape, and what I'm doing is I'm sticking it under, and I'm basically just making like little, oops, there's a piece of that shit still under there. Okay. Alright, I'm making like little little spots for the for these clips right here to rest down on. All right, and I got one left. Remember, I cut 16 of them earlier, so this is the last one. See, it's hard to tell. Well, we're gonna find out. All right, so what I'm gonna do is just take it, sticks it right underneath, you know, kind of center it, and just press it out from the center, and life is good. Okay, it's really good. Now remember, underneath that roof sealant, I mean, this is some sticky stuff, boy, let me tell you. Okay, so let's go back over to this one right there. Okay, that's the one we'll concentrate on, even though I'll do both of them. I'm going to stick some lap sealant. All right, a nice little heavy-duty bead right there. Okay, and I'm gonna do one on this one over here too. All right. I tell you, when you're putting holes in the roof and you're, you know, drilling screws through, I mean, you cannot put enough roof sealant on to keep it from leaking. Water will find its way anywhere, so you have to use the right products. All right, so now I'm gonna, I don't know if you can see, I'm gonna take the tape measure out, and I'm gonna let that just set right down into that bead of lap sealant. Give it a little push. You see it oozing out? That's what you want. You want it to ooze. Okay. Now we will put our our screws back in. And this time we're going to go all the way with them. All the way. Next one I'm getting ready to do, I didn't drill that one yet because I just put one on each side. So now this will be a virgin, you know, virgin screw drill. And these are self tappers, by the way. Set all this stuff over here, and I'll pan back and give you guys a view. Okay, as you can see, all 4 panels are secured. Each panel has 4 points of secure, and each of those points has 2 screws in it. I've got some ideas kicking around inside of my head that I might I might run to the store and buy me some nuts and bolts, run them up from the bottom. Now I would imagine if you had an RV and there was already a ceiling in it, you probably couldn't do this. But since I don't, I could literally run a bolt up through. Anyway, if I do that, then I'll talk to you about it later. But these are very secure right now, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to let that lap sealant. Jesus, it's so bright out here, I can't even see what there it is. Okay, you can see the screw heads, you can see the lap sealant oozed out around a little bit. What I'm going to do is let that set up a little bit, maybe an hour or so, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to completely cover that plate where it says Renogy. Okay, and then I'll bring some lap sealant out, you know, about an inch away from it as well, and let that just do its thing. Okay, let me get my tools off top of the roof, and I mean, I'm standing out here and I could get hit by lightning, so let me get the hell off this roof. I'll be back. Okay, I moved all my stuff down here to the end, and I went ahead and took my cardboard off, and I just wanted to kind of because I'm probably not going to be hooking those up today. I'm sure I'm not. I may go ahead and drill my hole when I come back up for my cables to go down, but there they are. Okay, I can walk all the way around them, I can service them, I can service my air conditioner, I can service everything. Okay, alright, now, like I said earlier, if I were to stick a voltmeter in each one of those, which I will when I come up here next time, I'll bring my voltmeter and show you. Matter of fact, I'm going to go do that right now. I'm going to show you that these panels are producing energy. I'll be back. Okay, I have no idea if this is videotaping this, but that's okay. Watch the voltmeter, and I guess it would help if I did turn it upside down. Okay. Each one of these panels should produce around, I don't know, 15 to 20 volts. Okay. Alright, so how do I know this is the hot side? Well, I just do, because that's what this sticker indicates. Alright, so there we are, 20.56 volts, producing 0.215 amps. Okay, so this single solar panel is producing 20 volts at 0.215 amps. All right, so if we multiply the amps times 4, we're going to come up with somewhere around 9 to 10 amps is what we're going to be sending into our batteries to charge them. Okay, and that's what we're looking for. All right, so let me leave that hooked up, and let me I'm going to hold the camera so that alright, I'm going to hold the camera this time, see if I can't hone in on some stuff. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm just checking the voltages and the amps of this solar panel, and now I can see the matter of fact, let me turn this on. Okay, I can see it, so I'm sure you can see it. Alright, so what I'm testing right now, what do I have it set on? I've got it set on, let's go back to volts. Okay, and let's put that sucker in there, and look at that. That one solar panel is producing 20.48 volts. Okay, now let's check the amps, and it's producing 0.214, 0.214 amps. Okay, now of course there's not a cloud in the sky right now, but I'm gonna be up here for a few minutes. Maybe a cloud will come, and then I'm going to show you what the numbers look like when there's a cloud overhead. All right, so we had about 20 volts and we got about 0.21 amps. All right, we'll be back. All right, well, of course when I want a cloud, I can't get one. I mean, there's a shitload of clouds coming, but I have no idea how long it's going to take for them to come. But maybe if they come, I'll jump up here and check the meter. So I'll be right back. I'm going to leave the meter up here though. Okay, I've decided to go with the white one. And what I'm getting ready to do is drill a hole above and in the center of those two bigger holes. Because I want to be able to fish my ground wire right through there. Okay, and I'm gonna make it super tight, and then I'll put some sealant around it, and I've got some grommets, and we're gonna make it look good and work good. And then I'll bring my ground into my super ground for the frame. I'll be back for my earth ground. Okay, I'm sitting up here on the roof. I got all my panels hooked up, and I'm just waiting for this cloud to come over. You can see it's at 0.212 amps, and we're still producing 20.46 volts. This cloud to come over, if it's going to come over. Okay, I've come through the roof with my solar positive, negative, and my panel ground, which I'll attach over there. That's a 10 gauge. And here I've got my hot side. And here I've got my negative side. Okay. Now, I'm not ready to hook this stuff up yet, so I'm not gonna do it right now. I've got to clean up in here a little bit before I take on another project. I got the door open because I'm just gonna go read the manual again because I'm bored right now. Well, I'm not bored, but I want to at least learn, you know, about some of this stuff. So, all right, let me. I mean, I'm not gonna go read it right now, but I'm gonna read it tonight and, you know, study how, you know, I want to hook everything up and how it goes into my shunt, so I can evaluate the power coming in. Going from my controller to my batteries, which is just coming out of there and going right to the hot bus bar and going to the negative bus bar. It's no big deal. So these two wires here go into the control box. It's a little short little control box, and then from the control box they go to my positive and negative, depending on which one it is. Now, one thing you have to do with solar as well as wind is you've got to put a disconnect. Okay, now what is a disconnect? Well, that's a disconnect because as soon as you throw the switch, you kill the battery power, right? Okay, the other kind of disconnect is a breaker. Okay, now this is a 120 amp thermal circuit breaker. Okay, so it's the red wire will come in here and exit here to the control panel, and whenever I want to disconnect it, I just simply push that button. Now you couldn't see it, but that little arm came out. Now when I want to reconnect, reset, boom, now you heard that click. So there and there. So remember, these are my resistors for my wind, and we're not going to put anything above that. Okay, so I'm going to come down with my solar wires, and obviously I've got to make these pigtails a little bit longer. Those were the pigtails that I used for my truck, so I had them, so I'm just putting them in here temporarily. But what I'll probably do is I've got two of these, one for my wind and one for my solar. Okay, now I do have another breaker, and I'll tell you about that later. And what that's going to do is that's going to completely isolate my wind and solar from the rest of my electronics and everything. Okay, and when I say isolate, it's going to be a breaker in case, you know, lightning hits the wind tower or hits the solar panels. I just want to have as much protection as possible, so it's no big deal, but I'll show you that later. So I'll be mounting these breakers in line with, you know, with the controller, one for solar and one for the wind. Okay, actually the wind will come into there. All right, so I'll have one right here that'll disconnect, and you know, you just want to be protected when you go into your, you know, into your box. No big deal. All right, I'll be back. I'll tell you, one of my favorite things to do is just stand and look at the flag. I tell you, it's a beautiful thing. Our forefathers got that right, that's for sure. All right, I think I'm done for the day. There's Patriot over in the field. What you doing, girl? I say we see you. I say we see you. Where you at? Where you at, buddy? Patriot, up here. Come here. Hey, there you are. Patriot, up here. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. I think he's lost his mind. Anyway. Okay, so just wanted to kind of check on, you know, make sure I didn't leave any tools or anything like that up here. I went ahead and installed where my where my wires go, as I showed you, down below. Okay, they go through here. I got my ground wire, goes through there, and once I've got all this stuff tightened up, I've got my wires, you know, screwed down to the, I've got some of those sticky tabs for the zip ties, so I'll stick those on, and you know, make all my connections. There's no reason to connect them now. Okay, so I'm pretty doggone pleased with the way they look and the way they easily installed. So, you know, I was thinking about my wind turbine and how I'm gonna, you know, connect that to my system. And I thought about coming through the roof, but that doesn't make any sense because it just doesn't. So I think what I'm going to do is underneath the trailer is where I want to put the plug, and then basically there's a cord, you know, that runs from the turbine, which is 30 feet, 20, 30 feet in the air, and comes down and then plugs into the system. So I'll figure out some sort of a connection type there. It just makes sense just to do it up, you know, at ground level, so I don't have to climb up here and do it every time. I don't know what I was thinking. I guess I was thinking that, you know, just come in through my solar stuff. But yeah, tomorrow I'll get these wires all connected to the panels. But first I'll do all my work inside as far as connecting it to the controller and everything. I am going to come back up here tonight and check the voltages when the sun goes down, just for giggles. Just want to see what I got. You know, for those of you who are you know, new to the channel or whatever, a couple, I don't know, a month or two ago when I installed the vent pipes, I installed these Camco, I don't know, they're Cyclones or something. You know, but as you're going down the road, I mean, it looks like it kind of follows, it's got a fin on it, okay? But, you know, if you stand here and watch them, depending on which way the wind blows, they'll go in that direction. And that's causing a vortex, I guess, to, you know, to make sure you're sucking the gas, you know, out of the tanks. But, I think that one just spun. Let me turn it against the wind, see what happens. One of the things I've seen people do in building their trailers that have rooftop air conditioners, they put their vent very close to the air conditioner intake, and guess what? When the air conditioner comes on, it acts like a vacuum cleaner, and it just sucks the stinky shit smell right out of the tank and distributes it throughout your trailer. So, you know, I made sure I kept mine at least 6 feet away from that air conditioner. And, you know, I don't know if you saw it turn, but it did. It turned itself into the wind. And there's that one. See how they both are kind of facing the wind. The wind's hitting my side. The wind's coming from that direction. It's kind of cool. All right. I'm going to end this for today. I think we had a pretty productive day. Some good rooftop stuff. And anyway, I'll see you tomorrow. Oh, real quick, I I added my solar panel serial numbers and panel numbers to my spreadsheet, so I've got that information at hand if I ever need it. Could be warranty work, whatever, you know. And I'll be putting other information, the wattage, you know, when I bought them, when I installed them, and this sort of thing. So now that I put them on the roof of the RV, I'll put today's date as installed, because I want to know how many years, you know, the life of those panels are going to be. You know, you figure all the bumping up and bouncing up and down the roads, and you know, just being out in the sun. I mean, they can't last forever, so, you know, 5 to 10 years, I'd be happy. So I'll get that information together. All right, y'all have a good night.